Happy Friday to you, Kelly, to another edition of Technology Corner with NTM.
Dave, always a pleasure, man. Happy New Year. Happy, healthy New Year. I am back feeling wonderful, recharged, ready to rock, ready to help anybody and everybody. And it's just a great time to be alive and well. And it's just good to see your face.
It is likewise, my friend. So much to be grateful for. So let's dive in. But before we do, the couple parking lot items for anybody who watches this in a little bit. Technology Corner with NTM is a live segment every Friday morning at 9:15 Eastern. You can also check us out on the web where we stream it to our YouTube page at trustntm.com. And you can also check us out at YouTube. Just Google National Technology Management. The links will also be provided underneath this show today. So Kelly, today we're talking about pesky applications, right? The applications that companies use to run their businesses, whether it's their accounting software, their CRM, their sales tool, their delivery, whatever industry that they're in, might be their ERP, if they're in healthcare, if they're a healthcare practice, whatever that is. We're talking about those today and how they're managed, and most importantly, how NTM keeps them safe. So welcome to another edition. Excited to get your thoughts.
Yeah, to make it simpler, it's that application. The line of business application is that thing that you open first when you open email, which some people would argue email is a line of business application, which is it's critical, but it's that next thing. It's the loan origination software if you're a mortgage company. It's your where you send your invoices out of, where you collect your money. It's any of that. And boy, I'm old enough, I'm going to date myself, old enough to remember when we used spreadsheets for this stuff, and everything was manual, and oh my God. And I tell people, what would you do if that software goes out? And we got to work it backwards, because if a major cyber event comes and everybody thinks, oh, if we put it in the cloud or we host it with the vendor, we're safe. There's no guarantees in this life except death and taxes. So if you put it in their cloud and they're on Azure or they're on Amazon Web Services or any of these major platforms and there's an outage, you're down. But the beauty part is if you're one of the big companies, you're with one of the big companies, hosted providers, and you're down, half of the universe is down. So ain't nobody working. This is the new world we live in.
It is.
It's supposed to be easier for us.
Right, exactly. So let's talk about what those applications are. So you mentioned a couple different industries. What's the definition of an LOB, or what we often call a line of business application?
Well, I think I just said it, but I'll say it again. It's what you open first every morning to do your job.
So what is that? Are we talking loan origination? Are we talking email? Are we talking?
No, and everyone is different. It could be QuickBooks for some companies. It could be for car dealerships, they have like a dealer track. For furniture companies, they have dispatch track. It's everything that talks where the inventory, what you're supposed to do that day is your line of business application. It is what helps you do your work every single day. What gives you your revenue is really what it is. What's the software that you launch in the morning that helps you do your business? For us here at NTM, we have a software that we use that's actually like 7 different softwares that we've integrated to be a platform to help us be the best IT company in the nation. And it helps us see into our customers' networks. But we do a lot of proactivity to monitor. So everybody's got something, and it's the thing that if it's down, you ain't working.
God, that makes sense.
Productivity stops, revenue stops, sales stop. That's your line of business application. It's like the electricity just got shut off or air stopped flowing.
Well, if air stopped flowing, we'd have a lot bigger challenges.
Hey,
so talk to me about you talked about them going down. That's obviously one big challenge to businesses using their critical line of business applications. What are some other common challenges that we manage for clients in relation to those applications?
Well, stop me if you heard this one, Dave. We have system on top of system on top of system. We're doing an assessment right now. We help our clients do this. And it's funny, the clients that utilize this service, it's a virtual CIO. It's grab somebody from NTM and let's work with your software provider, that line of business software provider, and let's figure out how to optimize that and best practice that.
Cool.
And whether it's in the cloud, whether it's your own cloud, whether it's the application provider's cloud, whether it's keep it on-prem. I mean, still some people have it on-prem because of integration purposes, for redundancy purposes, for cybersecurity purposes. None of these applications are created equal, and even two applications that are the same aren't created equal because of how they're used. How you use email is different than how I use email. I guarantee it.
Totally.
So, and that's just an email. What if we use our line of business application, which does more? So there's a big one where I met you, which is ConnectWise, which is a line of business application that managed service providers use. And everybody's ConnectWise is set up differently. We use ConnectWise to do so much more than anybody else does, where other people just use it for a ticketing system. So that they're not created equal. The integrations we push. Stop me if you've seen this one, but we're aggressive and we push everything to its limit.
Yeah, that makes sense. So talk to me about when these applications have updates. I know that's a big pain point for our clients at NTM. What does that look like? What's our process look like? How do we keep them updated? And why do they even have to update them?
Dave, the pain point on that is huge, and I'm glad you brought it up. And you're a great interviewer. You always keep me on my toes. A lot of our customers, we're so good at what we do. A lot of our clients forget to pay the maintenance or don't pay the maintenance on their line of business application because they say NTM's got us. Well, that's wrong, because they're constantly doing updates for security purposes, for optimization, meaning it needs to flow smoother. But the biggest one is the security updates. There's always vulnerabilities in the software that the bad people can get into. So but the problem is every time you do an update in a software, it can break something or it changes something. You could see it with the automatic updates that come with Microsoft Outlook. One day you got your viewing pane, and one day you don't. One day you got your calendar in your dock, and you don't. One day you don't. And after a few minutes, you can get used to it. But people don't like change. So if you do updates, oh my God, we got to have the button right there in our face is gone when you do an update. So people don't like updates. And really, the button's just moved over to the right too. No big deal.
Yeah.
So what I say to people in this new world is be patient and understand that change is inevitable.
Yeah, totally. So we update them for optimization. So basically for productivity and efficiency inside of using the application.
And cyber. We got to throw that in for cyber, for cybersecurity purposes.
So what can happen if I have, like, say I'm using, I don't know, when we use QuickBooks here and we use Microsoft Dynamics as our CRM. What if I don't update them for like a year or two? What's the potential hazard to me doing that?
Well, besides the aforementioned security risks and optimization, you're going to have this happen. So all of a sudden, the Microsoft Dynamics stops working. You call your provider that you purchased it from and say, hey, this isn't working. The first thing they say, you're 42 versions behind. And it ends up being hours and hours and hours of downtime that they have to. It's the first thing that they won't even touch it until you update. So now you're doing an update under duress. And when it's done, it may not have fixed the problem to begin with. And so we can't
5 hours later.
Let's just say something. Here's the worst case scenario: something dies, and you go to the backup. The server dies, and you go to the backups, and you go to your software vendor and say, "I need a new version of the software." When you go to restore the old data in new software, this is what happens. So people think they're saving a nickel to not pay the maintenance contract and not do the updates. Now, I'm not saying that you have to do every single update, but I would definitely keep regular, at least yearly, you do the updates. If they're doing, some of these people will release monthly, that's insane. Quarterly, I would recommend, definitely yearly. You have to, that they're not doing these updates just to make you mad. So, and here's another thing, and you're probably gonna ask me this next, but one size doesn't fit all. And when you're making a migration to their cloud or to a cloud, there are so many things to take into consideration, meaning, and when you talk to a software vendor, they don't have a clue what it means to network it. So
Right.
they'll say, yeah, it'll work, no problem. Like we're just working with a company. I'm not going to say anybody's names, but the software vendor, you can put in any cloud you want. Yeah, you can if you got a gazillion dollars. We're trying to put them in an Azure, and the licensing that has to happen in Azure is cost prohibitive. I mean, it's hundreds of
Just
thousands
is.
of dollars. So great, yeah, I can put it in Azure, but can I? No.
Yeah,
It's like
that
saying
makes
you can
sense.
drive any car you want, but can you afford it?
Yeah. So cloud environment, cybersecurity, updating, and then backups. Those are really the four big pain points that we
Right.
see a lot of with line of business applications, right?
One more thing to talk about is
Mhm.
just because you purchased their cloud version doesn't mean all your problems are over. There's
Mhm.
usually you're bunched in with it, your data is bunched in with everybody. And a lot of time trying to data mine and do reporting and it is limited. And then if you, heaven forbid, you ever want to leave that platform, you're kind of tied to them. So just saying,
Yeah.
oh, it's kind of like an electricity. You plug into the wall, you don't know what's going on in the power plant, but
No.
go and try to change to solar power, and they bring a new freaking meter, and you'll start seeing, oh, wait a minute, I'm getting treated differently. There's different. This migration is a little different. It
Yeah.
isn't the same as it was when I was just using the main company plugged into the wall with the electricity. It was expensive. I was held hostage, but it worked. So you
Yeah.
gotta. There's always going to be a cost benefit to everything in this world. But to me, all the 80% of your energy should be spent up front looking at what's what and demo and use the time wisely, and that's what we stress, and then get your technical people involved, NTM or whoever your partner is, and have them have these conversations, because there's something your software vendor is going to say that they're going to make assumptions that you have layer 3 switches, or that you have PoE switches, or that you have enough Wi-Fi,
Yeah.
and you just get everybody collaborating. It's what we don't do in this world. Communicate,
Yeah.
communicate,
Right.
and just choose wisely and get your vendor involved, and just
Yeah.
talk about the pros and cons.
So one question I have is, how hard has it been through the pandemic with employees that are remote to really have an optimization strategy in place for all these line of business applications? Like, has that made it tougher? Has it made it easier?
It's made it tougher from every perspective, because we bring in variables that we have zero control over. Home internet is one of the toughest things. Home Wi-Fi is one of the toughest things to help. These infrastructures, these cable co infrastructures that we all think, I got a gig to my Florida house has a gig to it. It's still slow. Gigabit internet speed. I mean, we used to sell 1.5 megabits and that was fast, and this is 1,000 megabits and it's still slow. So you got your kid in the next neighborhood playing on, or in the next room playing on Fortnite, or they're streaming music and it's sucking your bandwidth down, and you can't get to your line of business application. So it's definitely shine the light on everything and realize that there's a lot out of our control, but we've pivot or die. We freaking pivoted, and we can see into people's networks now, but we have to charge for that. So it raises the price a little bit. But we can see what's going on their network and say, hey, tell your kid to shut off Fortnite. But I love that stuff. I love challenges. And I think that this is the new world we're going to be in, Dave. Even NTM is making not a permanent work from home, but we're going to do a flex hybrid where 2 or 3 days a week you work from home. But it's put the advent on these Windows virtual desktops, these virtual machines. It's made it a little easier. I was just talking to somebody. I was some IT. Oh, it was your guy, a friend of ours, common friend of ours, which IT has actually gotten easier, except it's gotten more prevalent because everything, your toaster's connected to the internet now. So
my oven is connected to Wi-Fi. So is my refrigerator. It's ridiculous.
It's good but bad. It's just there's more things to manage, but it has gotten a little bit easier because the tools have gotten smarter. Companies are standardizing on things and not using different protocols. And we've got tools that we can manage your toaster. We can manage it's amazing. I got it on my home and I do demos from my home all the time. And I show, and they're like, why are your TVs never on? And that's a common question. I go, because I read a lot. But that's the kind of level of intrusiveness. That's a terrible word. Level of visibility that we have into everything. I mean, I can see my camera that we're talking on. When's the last time I used it? Is it online? How much bandwidth is it using? It's just, we have to see these things because everything is important in the IT game. So you think of cybersecurity, you think of this, you think of optimization, every single click of a button impacts a user experience. And at NTM, we're great at optimizing it. And if we're not, we're tenacious enough that we'll keep freaking working on it till we get it.
Yeah, I love it. Kelly, this is such a good topic today. Where can people learn more about this, what we do for them in terms of managing their line of business applications?
Well, the first thing I would say to everybody is don't think you're hostage to your line of business application. Open up your mind. Call NTM. Call me at 248-808-4888. I have worked, we were big in the electronic medical records. We still are. We still do a ton of healthcare. And we did the EMRs back when Obamacare started and they were giving away money for people to have meaningful use. So we got thrown right into the fire that nobody knew what an EMR was or how it did. And I would tell people, hey, your first EMR is your test. The second one is the real one. So what I say to people is reach out to me and let's talk, but have an open mind that says, hey, I'm not married to this. There could be something out there that makes my business more money. We left one of our line of business providers and immediately made the ROI back in 1 month.
Oh, wow.
Making that transition. 1 month. There is a software out there that can make your business better, make you more efficient, and serve your customers better. Just have an open mind. Don't say, oh, we can never leave this company, because it might be a little bit tough, but it's not as bad as you ever think it is. And it's gotten easier to make migrations. Just be patient and kind.
Yeah, agreed.
So trustntm.com, our YouTube channel, Google NTM. We're everywhere right now, and we're going to take it to the next level. Dave, you're helping me with everything. I love it. Thank you for everything. And this was a good topic. The story is I'm more of a businessman than an IT guy. Tell me what the problem is and let's figure it out together.
Yeah, I love it. Kelly, thanks again for hopping on this call today. For everybody who caught on a little bit late, 9:15 a.m. Eastern, we'll be live every Friday morning. And Kelly, happy Friday to you and have a great weekend, my friend.
Thanks, brother. Talk to you soon.
Cheers.
Cheers.